Labour to slash benefits? The truth behind Starmer's welfare plan, UK politics explained. Is Keir Starmer about to slash benefits for millions of Brits? Headlines say yes, but the truth behind Labour's welfare plans is far more complicated. Today, we're breaking down exactly what's happening, what it means for you, and why the media narrative might be misleading you. Welcome back to UK Pension Update, your go-to channel for the latest news on pensions, benefits, and UK financial policies. Today, we're tackling a big question. Is Keir Starmer really planning to slash benefits, or is the media twisting Labour's welfare plan? Stick around, we're breaking it all down so you know exactly what it means for you and your family. The story really picked up pace after Labour released its latest policy proposals. Several major news outlets ran with the idea that Starmer's Labour would be cutting welfare, sparking outrage from campaigners and concern from benefit recipients. On social media, the narrative quickly went viral. But if you look closer, the reality is a lot more nuanced than the clickbait headlines suggest. First, let's set the scene. Since the Conservative government's welfare reforms over the past decade, the UK benefits system has undergone significant changes. From universal credit rollouts to cuts in housing support and the infamous benefit cap, the safety net has been under constant pressure. Against this backdrop, Labour has faced intense scrutiny over whether its policies would strengthen or weaken support for those in need. Labour's official position, as outlined in their latest policy brief, is focused on fairness and targeting support to those most in need. One of the main proposals is not a blanket cut to benefits but a restructuring of welfare payments. The party argues that some current benefits are poorly targeted, creating inefficiencies in the system. Their plan, according to Labour, aims to streamline support, reduce bureaucracy, and ensure that public funds are being used where they can have the most impact. However, this is where the controversy comes in. Critics, particularly from the left of the political spectrum, have interpreted Labour's language around streamlining and restructuring as code for cutting benefits. The fear is that by removing certain payments or consolidating them, some households could see a reduction in the support they currently receive. In a country where living costs are rising, even small reductions can feel significant for families already struggling to make ends meet. One of the most misunderstood aspects of this plan revolves around universal credit. Starmer has signalled that Labour intends to maintain universal credit, but with reforms aimed at increasing flexibility and responsiveness. For example, Labour has proposed more frequent payments and tailored support for those moving in and out of work. While these changes could benefit some claimants, opponents argue that restructuring payments could indirectly reduce overall financial support for certain groups, particularly those in part-time or insecure employment. It's important to note that Labour's rhetoric has been carefully chosen. Starmer has repeatedly emphasised that no one will be left behind and that the party is committed to protecting the most vulnerable. The problem, as political commentators have pointed out, is that media coverage often reduces complex policy proposals into simple sound bites. Labour to slash benefits makes for a far catchier headline than Labour plans to restructure welfare payments to improve efficiency. The nuance gets lost, and the debate quickly becomes about fear rather than facts. Digging deeper, the proposed welfare reforms include an emphasis on conditionality. That means there could be stricter requirements for some claimants to engage with work or training programs in exchange for benefits. Labour argues that this approach is designed to help people back into work and improve long-term financial stability, but opponents warn that conditionality can create additional stress for vulnerable people, potentially pushing some into financial hardship. Another angle worth exploring is the economic context. The UK is facing a cost of living crisis, with inflation and energy costs putting enormous pressure on households. Some argue that now is precisely the wrong time to restructure welfare, as people are struggling to afford basic necessities. Labour, however, frames its plan as a long-term investment. By ensuring benefits are more targeted and effective, they claim, the system will ultimately provide better support for those who need it most, rather than dispersing funds thinly across everyone, including those who may not need assistance. There's also the political calculus. Starmer's Labour is trying to appeal to a broad range of voters, including traditional working-class supporters as well as middle-income families who may not rely on benefits but care about responsible public spending. Balancing these interests is tricky. Critics argue that any perception of cutting benefits risks alienating the party's core base, while failure to demonstrate fiscal responsibility could make Labour look weak on managing the economy. It's a tightrope walk, and media framing makes it appear far more dramatic than it may ultimately be. So, what does this mean for the average person? For someone currently receiving benefits, the immediate takeaway is that nothing has changed yet. Labour is still in the proposal stage. There may be changes to how benefits are administered, including potential adjustments to eligibility criteria or payment structures, but these are aimed at efficiency rather than indiscriminate cuts. For those not currently receiving benefits, the impact would likely be even less direct, as the proposals focus on streamlining existing systems rather than introducing sweeping reductions. It's also worth noting that welfare reform is not a new issue for Labour. In previous decades, the party has grappled with the balance between providing robust support and maintaining a sustainable public budget. Starmer's approach reflects lessons learned from these past debates, the importance of careful targeting, the need to modernize bureaucracy, and the political imperative to appear fiscally responsible. Another layer of complexity is the interplay between welfare and employment. Labour has consistently highlighted policies to increase job opportunities, invest in skills, and promote secure work. From this perspective, welfare reform is seen as part of a broader economic strategy aimed at reducing dependency on state support by creating conditions for people to earn a stable income. While critics may frame this as punitive, supporters argue it's about creating sustainable solutions rather than temporary handouts. Public perception will be key in the coming months. Politicians know that framing matters. Labour will need to communicate clearly how any changes affect people on the ground, using concrete examples rather than abstract language. Misunderstandings around terms like restructuring or efficiency can fuel outrage and misinformation. For viewers trying to make sense of headlines, it's crucial to read beyond the first line and examine the actual proposals. In summary, the narrative that Labour is planning to slash benefits is more complicated than it seems. The party is proposing targeted reforms to streamline the system, reduce bureaucracy, and improve efficiency. There may be some adjustments that affect specific claimants, particularly in the way payments are structured or conditionality is applied, but this is not the same as a blanket cut. Starmer's messaging emphasizes protecting the vulnerable while modernizing welfare to make it more effective. As with any major policy proposal, the debate is likely to continue. Labour will face scrutiny from both critics and supporters, and media coverage will continue to shape public understanding. For anyone interested in UK politics, it's a reminder that the headlines rarely tell the full story. The real question is not whether benefits will be cut, but whether reforms will achieve their stated goals without unintended harm. So, the next time you see a headline claiming Labour to slash benefits, take a moment to dig deeper. Look at the actual proposals, consider the broader context, and separate political spin from policy reality. The story isn't over, and understanding the nuance could be the difference between panic and informed discussion. Ultimately, Labour's welfare plans reflect a delicate balancing act, protecting the vulnerable, ensuring fiscal responsibility, and navigating a media landscape that thrives on sensationalism. Whether Starmer succeeds or stumbles will shape not just the next election, but the future of welfare policy in the UK for years to come. Thanks for watching UK Pension Update. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for the latest insights on pensions, welfare, and UK finance. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Labour's plan will help or hurt those who rely on benefits? And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update.